Welcome to Heal the World Show podcast, brought to you by the Healing Institute. The Healing Institute is an online, worldwide hub of holistic practitioners, and we are out to heal the world. I know it's a big job, but we are up for it. We really truly believe all of the practitioners that are on the Healing Institute website, we really truly believe that we can get to the root cause of whatever issue that you might have. And I've been using holistic ways of being well for well over 30 years. So I definitely know that it works. And we have had a medical model for probably the last 50 plus years that isn't really working anymore. And I truly believe it's because we were only dealing with symptoms. We weren't dealing with the root cause. So each week I invite a guest to come and talk about their area of expertise. The Healing Institute is an online platform, as I mentioned. And the reason I called it an institute is because I'm really passionate about educating people about how to be well and how to stay well on our health journey. Because let's face it, we are all on a health journey. So let's make it a proactive one. And the reason this is so important to me is because we did have a tragedy in our family a number of years ago. My mom passed away at a very young age. She was only 61, and it was due to being on a medication, complications of being on a medication for a very long time. So we had no idea that being on this particular medication for a long time would affect her kidneys. Unfortunately, she died right before Christmas. It was December 15th, and I was 5 months pregnant with my son. And I say it's not only a tragedy that she died so young, but it's a tragedy that my children did not get to meet their grandmother. And I really don't want that happening for other families. So that's why this is really important for me to do this education and also to invite amazing healers. And today I am just so delighted to have James Kawanui back on the podcast. Welcome, James. So glad to have you back.
Thank
James
you,
lives in
Cornelia.
Sedona, Arizona right now, but he is originally from Hawaii. And so we're going to talk about a really interesting way of energy, how energetic boundaries. We both have been doing energy work for a long time, so we understand that. So we want to pass that information on to you. This is our 107th episode. I've been doing this for now well over 2 years,
Yay.
so 107. And it's October, so I always have a theme for the month. And I decided October, actually, I asked my husband to help me because couldn't quite think around, and he came up with optimistic. So I thought, yes, that's great. We're going to have optimistic October for our theme. And I had someone reach out to me on LinkedIn yesterday and go, I love that, optimistic October. I'm like, okay, this is good. So that's our theme this month. And James, I'm just so delighted to have you back on the podcast. So welcome. And we're going to be talking about energetic boundaries, but tell the people a little bit about you and your background.
Well, it's excuse me. It's always good to be here with you, and we had so much fun. And we were talking before you hit record, and you and I know that if we sat together, we could talk all day. So
Yes, most
because
definitely.
just because it feels so easy. So aloha everyone. My name is James Keali'i Pi'ilani Kauai Nui. I am a native Hawaiian healer. My family goes back in Hawaii over 20 generations, and the work that I do is with people. When I talk to people, really what I want to do is to help them realize the beauty and the nature of who they are. And we have all these obstacles that we put in our place. We have stories, we have patterns, we have ways of thinking that hinder us from seeing that beautiful person that exists inside all of us. So that if you can't tell, that's my passion, and it's something that my ancestors. I come from a lineage of what people would consider shaman. In Hawaii, they call them kahunas, and so the lineage that I carry is inside of that. And I haven't done this all of my life. So the fastest way that I can tell the story is I was in a corporate job and in a corporate career 25 years ago, and I had a clairaudient experience. And it's the first time anything like that had ever happened to me. And I felt a hand tap me in the back of the head and a voice that said, "It's time to go home." And it was so abrupt and it was so impactful that I literally walked into my boss's office the next day and I quit my job. And that was 25 years ago. And that was when Hawaiians call them your kupuna, my ancestors started talking to me. And they said, "We have big plans for you." And I said, "Well, I'm not ready." And they say, "Well, we understand that, but we have big plans for you." And their plans were to share the wisdom and the knowledge that they have, and to just to be in a place just like you, Pramila, just like the Healing Institute. We're in this part, in this way, in society and in our world and in collective consciousness right now, where there's a lot of pain.
Yes.
And there's a lot of people looking for answers. And so we all need to be here, every practitioner. It's our time now. This is really the reason we incarnated here,
I
is
I
to,
agree.
is,
I believe
yeah.
I believe the same thing. Yes. Well, I love your story about your ancestors, and I love the story about you getting tapped on the back of the head and said, "Okay, it's time to go home now." And you're like, "What? I'm doing what?"
It was very abrupt, and yet the more I went into my journey, the more I realized, I was just writing about this morning, and the Hawaiians call it kuleana, and kuleana is a Hawaiian word that means responsibility.
Mhm.
So kuleana is responsibility. The responsibility not just to the ancestors, not just to the community, my community, and to the land, because Hawaiians are very tied to the land,
Yes.
but it's
Yes.
also my responsibility to myself.
Yes.
And part of that responsibility to myself is to really understand where I am energetically, right?
Mhm.
We were just talking about that before we came on, about our energy and our
Mhm.
field and how it being affected on a daily basis. I at some points I've called this energy hygiene, because it's really what it is. It's a protocol. It's hygiene. It's the same thing that you would do as if you were washing your hands, or you were taking a
Mhm.
shower, or you wiped your feet before you came in the house. It's a way of understanding, and how first of all to become aware of the energy that's around you,
And that
because
that is so important. And I think
it,
that's one of our main reasons for teaching this, because people don't understand they have energy. They don't understand about their aura, their electromagnetic field, and
you
how
know
that is so important and compacts what they're doing every day. So I love the way you're explaining that.
thank you. It's realizing that, I will say this, and this is just based on my experience. Most of what you're feeling may not be who you are, because most of
Yes.
what we're feeling is, you have to understand there's a collective consciousness. In other words, we are all connected. Whether you believe it or not, science is proving that we're all connected, and
Yes.
and and most indigenous cultures have known that for thousands of years. And so we have this thread of commonality that runs between us. And so that thread also passes information constantly
Yes.
from one individual to another, whether we're aware of it or not. So on any given moment, in any given moment, especially where we are now, for people, I mean, it's hard not for Canadians to feel what's going on in the United States. I mean, it's hard. It's hard for us not to feel what's going on in the world.
Mhm.
And there is this energy of this collective fear. There's this energy of this collective stress, of this uncertainty. And we all go through uncertainty in our lives. And yet at the same time, how much of what you are feeling in this moment is as a result of the collective, in addition to where you are inside
Oh,
yourself?
so true. Yeah, so true. So important for us to have those practices that calm our autonomic nervous system. And I know, both you and I've had previous conversations, so I know we both have these practices that we do every day, because I certainly need to have that grounding to for my day before my day begins, because there's just so much information that's coming at us. And because we're such close neighbors, Canada and the US, we do feel what's going on with you down, we're concerned. But we're sending as much love and positive
I
vibes as
appreciate
we possibly can.
and I appreciate that on behalf of all conscious Americans. I appreciate that. I will say that to you. And so is this place of understanding this, right? Of understanding where I am inside of this. It's really be good to here's one way I look at this. We won't make any changes, or we won't realize that there are changes to be made until we have realizations and awarenesses.
Yeah.
So it's becoming aware of that,
I think awareness is like the main thing, being aware first and
absolutely.
foremost.
Awareness, presence, and the ability to have a little bit of discernment so that we
Yes.
can actually start to notice things. And so one way I would say this, and I work with a lot of practitioners, and so I have lots of practitioners that say, I don't go out into the world. I do my work, I go home, or I stay at home and do my work, and I don't go out because it feels inundating. And I know that people feel that way, where they feel constantly inundated, but they're not sure by what. And so here's a practice, or here's an example. You go to a meeting, okay? So we're on LinkedIn, so we're going to talk business.
Okay.
And other
That's our
things.
audience. They'll be listening later.
Exactly. And so you go to a meeting, or you're going to have a Zoom call, or there's a phone call that you have, or you know that you're stepping into a situation that might be challenging. Let's just say it that way, right? Think about 10 minutes before you go into the meeting, how you're feeling. Think about as you step into the meeting, or if you walk into a room, and you either feel welcome or don't feel welcome. You've had experiences of that where you've met people where you feel like, just like Parmelia and I, like we've known each other for a really long time. And then you meet,
Just
and then
so the audience knows, we've never met in person, but we've known each other probably for 3 or 4 years on Zoom.
Exactly. And then we meet people. As soon as we meet people, we can't wait to get away from them. And I know everybody's had that experience,
Yeah.
where you get that ick feeling.
No,
Yeah, exactly that. Well, what you're doing is you're picking up on the energy of that person. It's just not a conscious thought of how that happens, right? I don't know if anybody's ever had this experience of walking into a grocery store and being okay when you walk into the grocery store, but the longer that you're in the store, the more heavy your energy feels, the more you start to feel not negative, but you start to feel I don't know. I don't want to say depressed either, but there's this heaviness
it's a
that
heaviness.
comes.
Yeah.
That and there are thoughts that pop into your head that for all intents and purposes you don't think about often, right? And then there's a part that says, "Oh my God, I can't wait to get out of this store." Again, we are sensing the energy
Yes.
around us, right? One of the ways that I talk to people about this is if you're moving through your day and you have a sense of where you are inside yourself, your mood, your outlook, where you are, and you notice something happen. It might be in a breath, might be in a minute or two, but you go, all of a sudden you go, well, wait a minute, how come I feel this way? What's happening? I was just happy, now I'm not, or what, however the conversation goes. In those moments where we can actually just stop and just have the awareness to go, huh, I wonder what that is.
Curiosity. I think that's number 2. Awareness is number 1, and curiosity is number 2.
Asking the question, what is this? Whose is this?
Yeah.
Right? Is this mine, or is this somebody else's? And what generally happens when I ask that question and I say, is this some mine? Or when I say, is this somebody else's? Right? I will feel the energy lift off of me just a little bit. There's a space that's created because all of a sudden, instead of that heaviness of whatever it is that you're feeling, you may feel a slight relief, right? in that moment of feeling that slight relief, the awareness comes in, oh, wait a minute, I'm carrying, or I might be holding on or feeling somebody else in the room, right?
Yeah.
Then comes choice, right? So number 3 would be choice,
Yeah.
right? Awareness, curiosity, choice. And so number 3 would be choice. And the choice would be, do I need to or want to carry this? Is it my responsibility to continue to feel these feelings? Can I give myself permission to let this go? And in that moment of saying, and really in some ways, it's a declaration for me. I say, I give myself permission to let this go. And I do something else is sometimes you'll know who this is, and sometimes you won't. And it doesn't really matter. But when you realize that you may be holding on to something that doesn't belong to you, to be able to turn around and I do it with a prayer, and I'll tell you why in just a second. And the prayer is, I know this isn't mine. I know this is not my responsibility to carry. So I am going to give this back to you, to wherever this comes from. And sometimes I just say, wherever this energy is coming from, I hand it back to you. And I hand it back to you with a prayer. And the prayer is that at some point, you either will have a realization and be able to move through that on your own.
I
And,
love that.
and
That's beautiful. Yeah.
and in
So
so in
beautiful.
that way, what you're doing is you're disconnecting the
Mm.
energy, but you're disconnecting it in a positive way. And I will tell you why that's important. Because what I learned when I first started doing this is that, and we do this, and I've done this, and I've gotten caught doing this, where you feel something from someone and your response or your reaction is negative.
Mhm.
And so you think about them, there's a negative reaction, and you send a negative energy back to them. Now, all of these things are pretty much unconscious when we're doing it, but you send this negative energy back to them. Well, on the receiving end of that, even though they may not feel it, your picture of you may come into their mind, and they'll remember that last argument or whatever it is, and they'll have that same response,
Mhm.
and then there'll be a negative reaction that goes back to you.
So you keep trading those negative reactions, whereas I love what you're doing when you send it back with a prayer, then you're sending it back for it to be dispersed however, and for the other person or wherever it came from for the highest good. So you're raising the consciousness of the energy as well as wherever it came from, whether it was a
And
person or in a situation.
And what you're doing is you're giving that person the opportunity to be able to see what that is, and without really pushing it back in their face.
Yeah.
And the reason that this becomes really important for a couple of reasons, but the first reason is because even though it's energetic, even though it's a thought form that you're sending to somebody else, every time that energy goes back and forth, it literally 10x's itself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So very quickly, energy turns into a physical thing. And I've watched this happen time and time again. And so here's the example. Think of somebody that you still have a contentious relationship, or the last conversation that you had may not have gone the way that you have, or you have history with someone
Mm-hmm.
that you have a disagreement or contentious relationship with, right? And bring those people into your mind. And what I want you to do is to notice the physical reaction that your body went through. For most people, it's a tightening of the chest or a stirring of the
Yep.
solar plexus, which is
Yeah.
your abdomen, right?
Yeah.
So even though it was energy, you're actually having a physical experience of it. If it goes back and forth, I've actually watched this happen where people get physically sick.
Oh, I
And
believe it. Yeah, I believe it.
And so the reason that you send it back that way, and the reason that you send it back with that prayer, and really as much compassion and love as you can inside of that moment, is because love dissipates all negative energy. That's really
Beautiful.
important to
Yeah.
remember,
Very, very important. Yes.
right? So even when you're inside of a conversation and you feel all that, you might feel that the emotions and the heavy projection of those negative emotions. You can do one of two things. You can allow them to just land in your field, and then you're going to react because now your emotions are triggered. Or you can look at that, and a lot of times this is all nonverbal. You're just standing there and you're going, okay, I see you're feeling upset. You have all this energy that's going, I don't need to take that on. I will recognize and acknowledge that you're in that place, but I'm going to do my best to not take any of that energy on. And this is another key point inside of this. Just because you feel it
Yeah.
doesn't mean you need to experience it.
No.
There's a
And
big difference.
oftentimes I think when we are having that reaction, somebody's we're feeling that energy from somebody else. We often think that we need to take it on for whatever reason, either to help disperse it or
Oh my God, that's a rabbit hole we can go down because sometimes there's a pattern of
Yes.
taking on
Yeah.
the responsibility of helping and caring for people, and we are all on some level caregivers, right?
Yes,
and so
absolutely.
we want to be able to help. So we think that, oh, by taking on that energy, maybe I'll help them come to a better place inside of themselves. And yet what you're doing when you're doing that is you're doing that at the expense of your energy field. So think about that.
And you're actually taking the responsibility away from that other person. So you want to give it back with love and with compassion, so that that person will learn from whatever the lesson that they need to learn. Yeah.
Whatever lesson that there is that's there for them.
Yeah.
So really important. Just because you feel it doesn't mean you have to experience it. When you realize that it's not yours, then it's a space of going, thank you.
Yes.
I hand this back to you. And it's also about understanding that we can create a field of energy. I call it a resonant field of energy. So almost like a buffer. I see it as a buffer.
I use the analogy of like a invisible egg. So when I'm doing my energy balance in the morning and I'm doing my protection, I make sure that I have my white light, my opalescent light. My next layer is purple light, and I'm like an egg. I'm inside all of this. So that when I'm out in the world, because we have to be out in the world, even though sometimes we don't, I can understand the practitioners you work with who don't want to be out in the world. But we need to do that. I think part of it is because that's why we're here. And also, but we need to protect ourselves and then I think that also comes with the awareness of what's going on, the energy that's happening. And so that's when we can set those energetic boundaries, and know exactly why they're showing up for us.
Look at it as your personal sovereignty.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
Right. So
Yes.
think about that space. And I love that because that's one of the things that I teach is what you're talking about is about creating. I see it as a crystal egg because what clear quartz crystal does is it amplifies, transmits, and it also stores energy. So to be able to step inside of that space so that happens, right? And what you do is you create this space that literally what's going on is you're going, remember when they used to go talk to the hand?
Yeah.
Really, that's what they were talking about. Outside of my space, here's my space, right? So imagine that, creating a space of energy that's around you. And here's the best analogy that I come up with so that to start to understand how to do that. Okay. So and Pramila, you're gonna really understand this because you live in the Pacific Northwest. So think about driving down the road and it's raining and you're in your car.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, and she told me it was raining. So it's been raining.
It's been raining all week. Yes.
So you're driving down the road and it's raining. And the rain's pattering against the windscreen. You can see it streaming down the sides. You can hear it splashing up underneath the car. But you're still dry.
Ah, yes. Very true. Yeah.
You're dry because the energy, which is the rain, is going around you because there is that barrier. The car is the barrier. So if you look at it that way and you go, okay, I'm going to create this space, and here's something to think about. Okay, we're not creating protection. What we're doing is we're creating a field of energy around us, because we have to be careful with words, because protection, we know what protection means, and we understand the concept of that on an unconscious level. What it's saying to ourselves and to our body is that I'm not safe.
Ah, yes, that's true. Very true.
So watch the energy of the words that we're using, right? So
Mhm.
I'm creating this field of energy around to support me, right?
Yes. So more of, use the word support versus protection.
Support,
Yes.
right? I'm creating a barrier or a support, a way of supporting myself energetically by creating space around
Yes.
me. And to use your analogy of your bubble, right? The
Mhm.
bubble is that all the energy in the world hits the outside of the bubble and doesn't come into the circle that you're in, right? And yet, because that circle is permeable, semi-permeable, and semi-permeable because the energy goes outwards, right? My energy continues to move through the world. The thing about it is, I choose when, where, and how that
Yes.
happens.
Yes.
When you don't have energetic boundaries, what's happening is you're constantly reacting to everything that's outside of you. Okay. And when you're doing that, what you're actually doing is every time you react to something outside of you, you're giving a little piece of yourself away. Energetically, you're giving yourself away.
Mm.
You're giving yourself away.
And
Even
your
if
reaction usually is in a negative form, not in a
it's in a
positive.
negative form. So now it's not only giving it away, you're draining your energy
Yeah,
because you
exactly.
continue to connect in that way. And I say this too, because this is really, really, really important right now. Because if we continue to react to the things that are happening outside of us, we're never going to have enough energy to do the things that we want to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so think
And that
about
we're here to do. Yeah.
exactly. So think about the situation that most Americans are in right now. And there's a place where there's a lot of collective fear. And there's a place where every time something happens, where the people that are in positions, and that's all I'm going to say, the people that are in positions are doing the things that they're doing. And every time we hear something like that, what happens is we react in a
Yeah.
negative way, because we go, oh my God, I can't believe these people are doing it. And however you react, every time you do that, what you literally are doing is you're feeding them.
Yeah. You're sending it to them. Yeah.
You're sending energy to them. And even though they may not be aware of it, they feel that. And so you giving up power. Okay, now we're talking about power, but we're also talking about energetic boundaries. You giving up power means that they have more power. And is that really is that what you want to, is that what you want? And is that how we're going to change the world? And I think the answer is no.
No, no.
To both of those, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So part of energetic boundaries is understanding how and where you share your energy and with whom.
Beautiful.
It becomes
Yeah,
really
so
important. So here, really quick analogy. I don't know how much time we have, but I'm feeding you guys with the fire hose right now. Okay.
It's okay.
So
we can talk as long as we like, James.
Okay, good. Yay. So think of it this way. In any given moment, you have 100% of your personal life force energy, precious life force energy that you have available to you. Okay. I'm worried about my children. I'm worried about this argument or this conversation I had with this person last week, last month, 40 years ago.
Mm.
I'm worried about what's happening in the world. I'm worrying about my job. I'm worrying about whether I'm going to have enough money. All these things. And every time we put our energy to that, and if you just took all that whole list of what I just said, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you even just wrote 5% next to them, right? That's at least 35 or 40%, which means that almost half of the energy that I have to create the life that I want, to do the things that I want to do, to make a difference in the world, I just gave away
Yeah.
because I gave it away to all these things, right? And so part of energetic boundaries is really becoming aware of the energy that you have. I call it a precious commodity.
It is a
Your,
precious commodity. I agree. Yeah.
your sovereignty as a human being and your ability to thrive depends on that level of energy that you have to create your life.
I love that. It's so, so profound and so important that we be aware of that, and be aware of the fact that, yes, there are some pretty
Formidable energies out there.
formidable energies out there that might not be landing with our energies or the way we would like them to be.
No.
However, rather than just reacting to what they are and taking on that we're then giving back, we're giving it back. I hope people understand how this works, because energy is energy. It goes everywhere. It goes
Everywhere.
One of the first things I remember when I was starting to study energy is learning that there was an energetic grid throughout the world. And so that made perfect sense to me, because we often say when we meet somebody like you and I've met, I'm sure we've, probably had a past lifetime together just because we get along so well. Or when you meet someone and you've never met them before, but you think, oh my goodness, I think I know this person. Well, this is this is the energetic grid. Or you think, well, that's just so you really are aligned with another person. That is the energetic grid that we have. So we are connected. We are all connected. And it's just so important, I believe, for the work that we do as practitioners to be able to explain that and educate people about the connection that we have, the energetic connection we have, and the energetic boundaries that are so important for all of us, for all of us.
For all of us. Think about it. We live in a dualistic universe.
We do. Yeah.
Right? Which means that there's dark and light, there's day and night.
Yeah.
Right? There's good and not good energy. Okay, so we'll just say it that way. So we are here as light workers for all of us, and even just people in general, right? We are either going to get sucked into all of that chaos that's there right now, or what we're going to do, and this is really our responsibility. Okay, so this is really, hear this, please. This is our responsibility to hold a contrasting energy. We have to have, there has to be the contrast.
Yes.
You don't know that light exists or dark or night exists until you realize that there's daytime.
Yes,
there's
right.
Daylight, right? You don't realize that good and bad, if you want to, exists unless there's a contrast so that we can know the difference. Well, the thing about it is we know the difference. So now our opportunity is to hold the contrasting energy that's inside of this. So part of your energetic boundaries is realizing that and becoming very, very clear about how and when you use your precious energy.
Yeah, beautiful. I love that. That's, I think, a perfect way to end our podcast. Thank you, James.
You're welcome. I hope that people take something away from this, even if you just pause and think about some of the things that we talked about this morning, and then I shared with you, and that it helped.
Again, just understand the energies that, especially, I mean, I don't think we have quite the challenge when, we're feeling those positive energies. It's when we're feeling the and maybe negative is the non-positive energies, I'll say.
Non-positive energies.
And so that's when we need to be able to understand how energetic boundaries work, so that we are putting those supports in place, so that and I love the way you explained it earlier about how we're giving back, and when we're giving back in a positive and with love, And our motto here at the Healing Institute is service with love. So when we're giving that energy back with love, even if perhaps we felt we received it without love, that's what's important, because then the energy is going to change. It's not going to be repeating the not positive part like over and over and over again.
But that's when it becomes unconditional.
Yes.
Because no matter
Very-
what happens, I'm going to hold this space, and that's what I'm going to share.
Yeah.
And it becomes unconditional then.
Yeah. And
in that way.
you know, when I first was starting to study energy with my energy teacher, which was 25 years ago now, still remember this. One of the things she used to say is, as we are doing the best we can, and we are raising our own consciousness, our level of Christ, she called it Christ consciousness. So
Mhm.
as we're raising our own level of consciousness ourselves, we're actually raising the level of consciousness in the world.
Because we're connected. Every time every time we have this awareness and this leveling up, everybody around you feels it. They
Yes.
do, even though they
Yes.
may not be aware of it, and even though they may not acknowledge it, they are feeling that. You know, one of my
Very
teachers
true.
says that we're all pillars of light, and so that we're
Yes.
just creating light in the places that we are to help people understand that it's there.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. I love it. So yes, we have a vision here at the Healing Institute that we really want to spread health and healing throughout the world. Anyone who comes to us as a client, we create whatever you need. The treatment you need is unique to you. And that's how we believe that we are looking at whatever's going on with you, whatever that issue might be, get to the root cause of what that is. And we have a big ask. Please let your friends, family, colleagues know about the Healing Institute and the work that we're doing here. And you got to meet another fabulous healer today, James Kawanui. Thank you so much again for being on the podcast. Thank you.
It's a blessing and a privilege to be able to sit and to share. So Permelia's, I managed to say one thing. Permelia is making a really important point. We get to places where we may not be able to take that next step. And so finding and looking for the guidance to be able to do that really is a powerful move. Okay. Realizing that we are in a place where we may need help, and help is okay, to be able to take that step. So reaching out to the Healing Institute, reaching out to people that you know and saying, hey, I'm in this place. I think I need some help.
It's beautiful. Yes, we
You're
definitely.
never gonna go wrong with that.
No, we always need to ask. Always asking is a beautiful thing. It's a perfect thing to be
It is.
asking for help.
Yeah.
So yeah, so thank you again. Yes, we'll have you back on the podcast again and again. We never run out of things to talk about.
We never run out of things to talk
Oh,
about.
this
I
is
just want to say, everyone, to have a blessed day. Have a beautiful day. Just take care of yourselves. Do something beautiful for yourself.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
and hug a friend or smile at somebody today.
Yes, beautiful. Thank you. I'll say aloha.
Aloha.